You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
And we're now joined with our second guest, Paul Best, from the Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway. And Paul, it's always good to see you here at BRFM.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, and it's blooming cold today.
Yeah, it's certainly different. A week ago, I think Monday was a lovely sort of sunny, warm day, so complete difference today.
Yeah.
Now, I was wondering, although you're a regular guest, if you could just sort of refresh our listeners and give them a reminder about the Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway.
Yeah, so the Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway is the former paper mill railway between Sittingbourne and Kemsley paper mills, with a little extension that went out to Ridham Dock. And in 1969, it was closed as an industrial railway, but we were asked, or the Locomotive Club of Great Britain were asked to take it on as a preservation project and to run it as a tourist attraction. And Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway was set up in 1972 to take over from the Locomotive Club of Great Britain and run it as a proper tourist attraction and museum. And everything was going really well. And then in 2008, because Sittingbourne Paper Mill had closed, it was decided that the landlord would sell all the land that we were sitting on and asked us to leave, which is not easy to do with nearly 2 miles of railway, a load of locos, coaches, wagons, equipment. So we fought our closure, and in 2010, after Essential Land had bought the land from MRIL, we were allowed to reopen as far as Milton Regis as the halt. We reopened in October 2010 for just a few days to celebrate 40 years of public running. And then in 2011 we ran the season from May to September from Kemsley Down and Milton Regis as the halt. And then last year, finally, we managed to get back into Sittingbourne, and we are now pretty much directly opposite the New Morrisons, behind Pizza Hut and KFC. So we're right slap bang in the middle of town, really.
Paul's wondering, actually, talking about that, could you tell us what is happening this year?
Yeah, so hopefully this year we'll have a full season, which will be the first time since 2008. And we, all going well, we'll open on Good Friday at 11 o'clock and run trains from Sittingbourne Viaduct on the hour every hour from 11 till 4. Then on Easter Saturday we have a bit of a lay-in and we only do 1 till 4. Easter Sunday we start up at 11 again, 11 till 4, but this time with an Easter egg hunt at Kemsley Down, so something for the kids to do while you're there, and they get a little prize at the end of it. And then on Easter Monday we're open from 11 till 4. Then after that we go to just Sundays 1 till 4 until the end of September, but we've got a number of special events. So the first special event is Jack the Station Cat Weekend on the 5th and 6th of May, which is the bank holiday Sunday and Monday. And Jack the Station Cat is a series of children's books, and Jack will be in attendance and you'll be able to have your photo taken with him. Then the next event is the big event of the year, which is Steam and Beer on the 6th and 7th of July, and we have a large range of real ales and ciders there. There's live music on the Saturday, and on the Sunday we're having Captain Jack Sparrow there. He came along last year, it was absolutely brilliant. Have your photo taken with him, he'll tell you a few tales and jokes, so it should be a really entertaining Sunday. So that's the 7th of July. Then the next big event after that is at the end of August, when we have Either the Engine Weekend, which is the bank holiday Sunday and Monday, when Either the Engine returns to Kemsley Down. The rest of August we are running on Wednesdays during August for the school holidays from 1 till 4, and then on Sundays we're doing the 11 o'clock and the 12 o'clock as well, so that you can make a bit more of a day of it just in August. Then our last event of the season is the end of season gala weekend, which is the last weekend of September, which is the 28th and 29th this year, and that is our time to play trains, our last opportunity to play trains of the year until Christmas. And we do all sorts of weird things. So you might end up with a diesel on the front, or 2 diesels last year, 1 or 2 steam locos. You might be on a freight train, you might be on a passenger train, who knows. And a round trip takes about an hour, and you're welcome to stay longer at Kemsley Down and return on a later train. You don't have to go straight back. They've got a bit of bad news. Although we've held fortnightly work weekends throughout the autumn and winter, we haven't been able to repair the damage caused by vandals at Milton Regis Asda Halt last year because of the poor weather. The concrete just won't set in this. So unfortunately that means that Milton Regis Asda Halt will remain closed until repairs can be carried out when the weather cheers up. So unfortunately that does mean if you live in the Milton area you'll have to go to Sittingbourne to pick up the train.
So, Paul, what is the journey like on the railway?
Well, if you've never been before, you're in for a treat. It's a railway like no other. To board the train, you have to climb the steps up the embankment behind Sittingbourne Retail Park. And then at the top there, you're at Sittingbourne Viaduct Station, which is the site of the former transfer sidings into Sittingbourne Paper Mill, which is now, of course, Morrison's. And that's where the trains of raw materials and finished paper were sorted out, ready for going to the warehouses or going to the dock or going to the paper mill. And all that is where the Sittingbourne Retail Park is now. So it's hard to imagine it now when you sort of stand down there, but that was all industrial site and an amazingly busy place.
I was going to say a complete change in a very short time, really.
Yeah, things have moved on so much down there. The last remnant of the route is the stub of bridge, which goes over the wall, which is the road where our entrance is, behind Pizza Hut. And you've just got this tiny bit of, or very short bit of bridge, and that's pretty much, other than the railway, the last bit of the paper mill in Sittingbourne. And if you've visited before and you come down now, you'll notice that all the pipelines have gone. You know, Sittingbourne Viaduct Station's changed so much. We still haven't managed to rescue all the wagons after the points were stolen and bits and bobs were stolen while we were closed, so we've still got work to do there, but we're getting there slowly. The industrial nature of the railway can be fully enjoyed as we depart at Sittingbourne Station onto Milton Regis Viaduct, which is 98 years old this year, and one of the oldest reinforced concrete structures in the UK, and certainly one of the longest on a narrow gauge railway at almost 1 kilometre long. It's got 118 spans and 6 bridges, and has cost the railway £105,000 in maintenance costs since the mid-1990s, and that's come out of the fare box and people buying food and drink and souvenirs. So it's cost us a lot of money, but it is so worth the money because it's unique. Our intermediate station, which, as I say, is going to be closed for the time being, is Milton Regis Asda Halt, and that's on the site of Middle Sidings, and which was another sort of marshalling point, and there's a small engine shed there. That's all gone now, and we've got a short platform there which has been vandalised, but hopefully we'll get that back up and running soon. Asda have been brilliant. They've let us have an access gate through their fence from the car park. They've allocated us some parking spaces, and they've even donated a considerable sum of money for the new station, which we hope to construct in the next few years. So that's really good there. And then the railway passes through Milton Creek Country Park and onto the marshes, and the marshes are the salt marsh on the creek side and freshwater marsh on the sort of Milton Regis Kemsley village side. And then we've got a bridge over the railway. The new Sittingbourne Northern Relief Road bridge goes over the top, which is a great place to get pictures of the trains when they're running. And then we carry along the marsh and then go into Kemsley Paper Mill site. We are kind of in the middle of a working paper mill, but we're the oasis of calm in such a chaotic place. I'm sure they won't love me for that. And at Kemsley Down, that's our main site.
So, Paul, what can you expect to see and do at the railway?
Well, The facilities at Sittingbourne and Milton Regis as the halt are very basic. So Sittingbourne's got slightly more. You can sort of have a look round. You can see quite a bit from there because you're quite high up, and listen to people ordering food at McDonald's and KFC because you can hear that incredibly well up there. But when you get to Kemsley Down, that's where everything is. We've got a museum, a shop, the Footplate Cafe, a picnic and play areas, museum walk, and the wildlife area. And the railway's rare in the preservation world because we've got the original locomotives, coaches, wagons, and even buildings from the former Bowwaters Light Railway. A lot of railways, they sort of came back after a line had been shut for a few years and then tried to rebuild the line and make it up from that, whereas we were sort of handed it on a plate, which was quite nice. And we've been struggling to keep it going like that since. And our close proximity to Elmley Marshes enables us to see a variety of wild birds, and those wanting to take a scenic walk can take advantage of the Saxon Shoreway, which passes Kemsley Down's back gate, and we even sell single tickets so that you can travel one way and walk back the other.
Paul, how much does a trip cost?
Well, the fares I'm going to give you are just a basic return trip, but there are other fares available, like single and rover fares, so you can travel backwards and forwards all day. But a return trip for adults is £5.50. For children aged 3 to 13, it's £3, and under 3s go free. £4 for concessions, and £16 for families of 2 adults and up to 4 children. But during Steam and Beer and the Santa specials, we do have special fares for that.
So, Paul, one of the things I'm well aware that you do is produce a podcast. Well, could you tell our listeners a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I've been doing the podcast for a few years now. When I get a chance, I'd had hoped it was going to be every 2 weeks, and then it slipped to 3 weeks, and now it's as and when I can get into it. And at the moment it's on hold because I'm producing a DVD annual for the railway, which we'll be able to buy from the shop. I started work on it last week. I've put 50 hours of editing time into it and still haven't got a DVD annual at the end of it. So everything's sort of on hold while I do that and try and get that ready for Easter weekend, although I am running out of time. But the way the podcast is set up, it's a programme set over several parts, usually 5 parts, and it's a return trip from Sittingbourne to Kemsley Down and back. On the way out and on the way back, there's a feature article on something. So on the last one, it was the review of the first half of 2012. And then when we get to Kemsley Down, there's usually a special announcement which gives you all the latest news from Kemsley Down and behind the scenes gossip. And then we have a roundup of what all the different sections of the railway are doing, so what the track gang are doing, what the locomotive engineering department are doing, what's going on in the museum, and we go round the different areas and catch up with what they're up to, and then the journey back, and then the last one is usually what else I'm listening to as a podcast. So there's a lot of modern railway podcasts that have had a good plug. BRFM's being plugged, so I try to sort of keep it interesting if I can, and try and keep it sort of fairly short to about 15 minutes each part, but it's still a lot of work.
Oh, I can understand that myself. How do you get the podcast, Paul?
Well, there's various ways to get it. You can get it for free from, well, it's free wherever you get it from, but it's from iTunes. Search for Sittingbourne and you'll see it in the list. On the host site, which is libsyn.com, if you put in http://stopem.libsyn.com, you'll see it there, and there's a little blog there. Then another way would be to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, which is, if you do a search for Stopem, which is STOPEM, you should find me there. And there's a number of other groups like BritishRailways.tv where I'll upload it as well. as well as the video tab on the Facebook group. Although I think that's gone now, but we still have it on the Facebook group. As soon as it comes up, I paste it on there, and everybody can watch it there. And I'll get about 300 viewers, which is really good.
How else do you spread the word, Paul?
Well, it's coming to radio stations like this and doing interviews. We put a lot of press out and advertising all the local newspapers, and this year we're going to advertise in Steam Railway magazine, so that's going to be a first for us, for a planned advertising campaign. And then we go to model railway exhibitions all around and about, and to open days. It's always nice to do those because we can meet and talk to the general public and explain what we are and what we do. And we did the holiday show down at Dover Cruise Terminal the other week, and a lot of people always surprise me that a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't know Sittingbourne had a steam railway," and one lady even said she didn't know there was a place called Sittingbourne, so that's not my fault.
So what do you like most about the railway, Paul?
I just love the fact that we're unique by being given the railway by Bow Walters to take on as a tourist attraction, rather than taking over a disused line and having to build it all up from scratch. We've sort of taken it all on, and we've kept it going, and we're like one big friendly family, and I think we like to pride ourselves on our friendliness, so come over and say hello.
And Paul's wondering if you can tell us about the membership of the railway.
Yeah, sure. Membership of the railway is like one of the best ways to get into the railway. We've got a small membership with quite a high percentage of active members, which is unusual because normally you end up with quite a large membership and not getting hardly any volunteers. So we're not doing too bad. But we understand that you are a volunteer and you don't have to be there, so we want to try and make the most of you and make you happy while you're there. We don't have any paid employees and we're all volunteers, so everybody throughout the railway is doing it out of their own time. And we always need more volunteers because, in the last 4 years we've lost 4 key members that have passed on. So we'd like a few more willing hands to sort of spread the load so that we're not relying on a few people, and we can make it a little bit easier on everybody. And we're not all old fuddy-duddies. We've a very wide range of age group and lots of junior members, and that's how I started over 25 years ago, and that's how quite a few of us not quite so young people started their career down there.
So how can you become a member, Paul?
Well, during the winter we hold work weekends every fortnight, and we've just had one last weekend, so the next one is the 23rd and 24th of March, and that'll be the last one before the season, so you could come to that. For a work weekend we can give you 3-day membership, see if you like it, do loads of work. We normally have a train from Sittingbourne at 10 o'clock in the morning and return you there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you sort of get a bit of a feel for it, come round and have a go at bashing some trees or doing some painting or whatever you can do. We provide tools, training and lunch, so that's always a good way to get started. You can download a form from our website, and our membership, we think our membership is pretty reasonable. It's £5 for junior members, so that's aged 14 to 17, and then £18 for adult members, £35 for family membership, and £300 for an individual life membership. And last year we introduced a special rate of £150 for life membership if you're aged over 60. You can travel free on the railway whenever we're open. With some railways you'll get like 6 days maybe, but it's free whenever we're open, and discounts to steam and beer, and Santa specials, because obviously you're not paying for the transport, the rail travel. You'll get a quarterly New Bogey magazine, and also working members get a discount in the Footplate Cafe. So it's well worth becoming a member, and you don't have to be active, but we'd love to see some more active members.
Now, Paul, before you go, I was just wondering if you could run through all those useful contact details where our listeners can find out more.
Yeah, sure. There is a lot, so I hope you've got a pen and paper. Our website is www.sklr.net. Our talking timetable telephone number is 01795 424 899. Working Wednesdays, if people want to volunteer on a Wednesday, because we have people down the railway on Wednesdays, or any other inquiry, is info@sklr.net. That's the email address. We're on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/groups/SANDKLR. And for the podcast, search for Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway in iTunes, or visit www.youtube.com/STOPEM. And on Twitter, we are at capital S, lowercase AND, capital K, capital L, capital R. And we've got a picture of the day blog, which is www.stopem, which is STOPEM.net.
Paul, as always, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and telling us all about the railway and updating it, because, I really do appreciate it.
It's not a problem. It's always good fun to come here.
That's Paul Best from the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway right here at the Monday Night Community Show.